Jerry Boykin said, well, here's Mr. Stewart. He's a pretty good golfer, one of our good golfers. Maybe he'd take you around. It was one of the most enjoyable golf games that I ever played. He and I went 18 holes, boom, just like that. And I saw how he worked that. He used 2 scorecards, and he would write down something on every hole on those scorecards. And that was his Bible for his rounds during the course. But it's one of the best games I ever had. Nice fella, and but he flew to Boston. He just got married, and his wife was in Boston, so he went up to see her on Sunday, and he flew back on Wednesday so he could play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So just a casual acquaintance stopping in, and you wound up talking and playing with him a number of times. Did he ever come back later on?
Not that I know of.
Right.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think that he probably did. He was a private golfer for corporations in California. That was his job, was to entertain customers for several corporations out there. And he just got married, as I said, and he was anxious to get to Boston and then to get back to California and his regular life.
Right.
He didn't play too well. He was a heck of a golfer, but I think he had other things on his mind. Yeah, yeah, God.
Well, tell us about Cleveland Open. What do you remember about that?
Well, of course, it was nice seeing all the fine golfers and well-known golfers. I did talk to some of them. I asked Gary Player how he liked the course. He says, it's a nice little golf course. So there you go. And I talked to Palmer, and Palmer came from the same Latrobe, PA that my father did. And I had lived in Latrobe, PA for 6 months when I was a little boy. So Palmer was kind of glad to know that he saw somebody that knew what the heck Latrobe was. Yeah. And I followed several different ones around. I'll never forget when Weiskopf hit one on 14 up over the trees on the left-hand side and halfway down the fairway. I think it's the longest ball I ever saw in my life. But he really let it go.
Do you remember how it came to be that we hosted the Cleveland Open? I mean, were there members here at the club that wanted to host a professional tournament?
Yes, I'm sure there were a lot of members who wanted it. And it was a chance, we thought, to make a few bucks, too. As it turned out, it didn't work out financially that good because it cost us so much money to get the thing back in shape. But yes, a lot of people did want it. And they attended it quite well, too. A lot of people came out here every day. And a lot of people worked the golf course during that time. So it was an experience. I don't think we'll ever have it back again. No.
Did you know anything about Tillinghast, the architect of this golf course? Did you know anything about him when you were joining or after you had joined?
The only thing I knew about Tillinghast was I had it rammed down my throat by Ken Stouffer.
We've heard that before.
Time after time after time, Tillinghast, Tillinghast, Tillinghast. But I knew nothing of him when I joined, and even after I joined, all I knew was it was a Tillinghast golf course, so what? I think a number of the changes we made on the golf course were not Tillinghast course. We enlarged a lot of our greens and he was a small green golfer, and his traps were a lot different from the ones that we have today. Yeah. So I don't think you could call it a Tillinghast course anymore.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. It's a nice golf course. It's a good golf course for an old man because it's so level. Yeah.
True.
It's a nice golf course to play. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the country store. How did you come to start that? Where did that idea come from?
I was a member of the Interrview Club down on Lorraine Avenue, and they had a country store every Thanksgiving. And we went, my wife and I, and said, gee, this would be a pretty good idea for Lakewood. So we had a birthday day was on Thursday. So I went down and rented a wheel and the number cards and one thing and another. And I got some people to donate things. We got a couple barrels of booze out of one of the men who was a liquor distributor. And we got some peanuts and some cakes and this, that, and everything. And I put them up there, and we sell them for two bits of chance you get it on. We weren't the wheel. And that's how it started. Then the next year, the manager, who at that time was, I can't think of his name right now, he got quite a few things, and we put on somewhat better and more selection of items that we had out there, and we made some money. Not much, but a few bucks. And I think the third year, Gordy Vaughn came in and started to help me, and he was a good friend of Sinagra's grocery store in Lakewood. And we got a whole bunch of stuff from Sinagra's. And I don't know whether it was cheaper or not, but I think it probably was. He said it shaved a few bucks off. And we got the crew from the clubhouse to make us a little stand. And that's when we'd hang this stuff up on a stand. And that was the beginning of the country store as we know it now. And that time, we filled up the old clubhouse. In, I think, 3 years, the word got around that, hey, this is something that's fun. And we shoved bingo in there, and that brought them, I think we had $50 for the last round, and bingo. That brought a lot of people out.
That's great. When you first started it, I'm sure you had not a large crowd, maybe, and you remember how many people possibly were coming to those first?
We had just a dinner crowd for that Thursday birthday,
Okay.
which would probably have been between 20 and 25. That's all was there, yeah.
And what was how far did it grow in numbers? Did we get up, we're upward of 200 people, or what?
Oh, I think the last one we had was over 200 people.
Right.
In fact, at one time, it became so popular, we had to have it 2 nights.
2 nights?
2 nights.
Oh.
Well, we had night 1 or night 2. And we'd fill the thing up.
Wow.
Yeah.
All I know is you had to get here early if you wanted to have a good seat.
You had a good seat, you had to get here early, right.
So
right.
what was your nickname? Are you Jeb, or I forget?
Jeb.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, everybody had a name.
we didn't have nicknames in those days. It was just plain old Bud. Yeah.
Well, who were the other people that helped you on the country store? So you started maybe with Vaughn, but after that?
Sid Corporal helped.
Okay.
He helped mostly in selling the tickets.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd go around and sell these tickets to the people. And Well, Bob Given helped a lot, and I can't remember some of the other fellows.
But there were 3 or 4 key guys that you mentioned.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Started
we had a 3 or 4 because
Good.
the
Okay.
preparation beforehand became quite involved eventually, and it was almost an all-day thing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is today. Yeah.
So, golf. Let's get back to golf now. You were as low as a 7 handicapper.
At one time, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's that's an outstanding number on the golf course. That time was maybe only 30, 40 years old, and
Yeah, it was about 40.
yeah, and to come up with 70 some years of playing golf, that's an outstanding number. And I know that when people play today, they say, "Oh, I remember 20 years ago when I used to hit a 5-iron here. Now I'm hitting a 5 wood." You know,
Right, right.
And they say, "I don't know what happened."
Yeah.
Well, things happen, but the idea is the game is still enjoyable, no question about that.
Oh, it is.
And tell us about some of the, can you recall any funny stories that happened on the golf course? Some crazy antics that happened, or a tournament that was played that was sort of...
We used to have Lakewood Day used to be all members, and we used to have so much fun. Some of the members would come out and dressed in whatever they were supposed to be. But the doctors came out, brought a nurse from the hospital and a gurney from the operating room, and they pushed that gurney around. And one of the fellows, when you tee your ball up, he had a shotgun with blanks in it, and he would bang just as you were swinging and knock that golf ball off the tee. That him. Then we used to get 3 or 4 or 5 pretty girls from someplace or other, and they would help to serve drinks to us around the golf course. They would give the drink order in on number 9. By the time we got to 9 green, our drink was there waiting for us. We'd have that. And then after that, the girls would help us putt on the putting green after golf. That was a lot of fun. I remember one girl on number 16 could knock that ball over there and all on the green almost every time. She was a good golfer and a very pretty girl. Yeah, we had some great times then. We had one golf thing. You'd only take 2 clubs. What do we call it? Whack and snack. And we had the old Ford pickup we had, used to fill it up with booze, and that would follow us around the golf course. And we would all tee off at one time. There was about 20 of us that played at the same time. And that on number 4 at that time, somebody shanked one right into the crowd, and that was the end of that golf. Yeah. But we used to have some awful fun times in those days. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. What was your lowest score that you maybe recall the shooting?
What's that?
What was the lowest score that you've shot here? Maybe?
The lowest score, I never could get under 75.
No, well,
It's not too shabby.
I had a lot of games that I'd start off with the first 9 of 35 or 36, and the back 9 I'd be with 50 or something like that. I did that so many times. I never could get 2 35s together, but I had a lot of 35s. I had 3 holes in one that time, and I have pictures of those 3 holes at home in my den.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Are they 3 different holes?
3 different holes.
Wow.
I had the first one on number 5, and my second was on number 12, and then the last one on 16.
Good for you.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's exciting. most people don't ever have A1, but they have 3. That's
Yeah.
outstanding. That's
Mhm.
very good. Do you remember some of the head pros that we had and how they contributed to the golf course and the club?
Well, my first contact back in the 30s, Rudy Felix was the pro then. And of course, I was just a little kid from Westwood, and I just knew him and knew of him, and I would say, hello, Mr. Felix, and that was the extent of it. My desk, when I joined, Carl Ben Mitchell was pro, and Carl and his wife Edith, she ran the pro shop. We were here for a long time, about 25 years, something like that. And then he retired, and then Jerry Boykin came in.